This is Kwon Min, a former special operations soldier, is on his way to pick up his daughter, Fan, from school. She is eager to select a dress for the upcoming prom and urges Kwon to hurry to the downtown store. After dropping her off, he searches for parking but accidentally collides with another vehicle. Before the two drivers can exchange words, a powerful explosion occurs nearby, destroying cars and shattering windows of nearby shops. Kwon, injured with glass embedded in his face, is primarily concerned about Fan and rushes into the devastated store. Meanwhile, a reporter named Ian receives a call from a group identifying themselves as the authentic IRA, who claim responsibility for the bombing and use the code word Phoenix. The caller issues a threat to target banks next if the British government does not cease its illegal occupation of Ireland. Ian hurries to inform his editor, who expresses concern that the peace accords may be jeopardized and mobilizes the entire office to track down the perpetrators. Ian makes his way to the scene of the explosion, now overwhelmed with paramedics and casualties. As he captures images of the devastation, he spots Kwon holding Fan's lifeless body, distraught and in tears. The narrative then shifts to the authentic IRA, who are holed up in a hotel room. The bomber enters, questioning how many lives he has taken. They decide to remain in hiding, knowing that law enforcement is currently searching for any Irish individuals. Next, we are introduced to Liam, the Deputy Minister of Northern Ireland and former IRA leader, who is in bed with his mistress when he receives news of the bombing. He answers a call from his wife, who inquires about the incident and questions his absence. He responds that he had to work late. He arrives at his office while conversing on the phone with British Cabinet Minister Kate, who urges him to investigate thoroughly and identify those responsible. He informs her that in order to quell any potential unrest, he requires her to grant a full pardon to 40 of his Irish associates accused of various crimes, including his cousin. Kate responds that she will consider it if he provides her with the names. Kwon stands in Fan's room, silently gazing at her belongings, clutching her teddy bear, lost in thought. Two detectives from Scotland Yard arrive at his restaurant and are directed to his residence upstairs. They request Kwon to identify a purse discovered near Fan's body, but Kwon's only concern is to uncover who is accountable and why his daughter was targeted. The detectives assure him that they will apprehend the bombers and bring them to justice before departing. Meanwhile, Liam convenes with his former IRA associates, demanding to know the identity of this new IRA faction and how they acquired a code word reserved for high-ranking IRA officials, even suggesting the possibility of a mole among them. He insists that they thoroughly inspect their entire inventory for any leaks and report their findings. At Scotland Yard, Commander Bromley is pursuing leads related to the bombing when he receives a notification that Kwon has visited the station for the 5th time that week. He meets with Kwon, attempting to reassure the grieving father that they will apprehend the perpetrators and secure justice for his daughter. Kwon offers £20,000 for at least one name, but Bromley cautions him that the individuals involved are extremely dangerous and advises him to keep his distance. Bromley inquires about Kwon's family and learns that with Fan's passing, all 3 of his daughters and his wife have also died, leaving him completely alone. Bromley informs Kwon that his frequent visits are diverting resources from the investigation and urges him to allow the police the necessary time to perform their duties. 3 weeks later, the police have yet to uncover any leads, but Kwon remains determined to find any information that could assist him. He observes Liam discussing the IRA on television, watching him with keen interest. After returning to his office, Liam discovers he has a call from Kwon, who has been waiting for 30 minutes. When he answers, Kwon immediately inquires about the identity of his daughter's killer. Liam claims he has no information regarding the bombers and expresses his condolences before ending the call. Consumed by rage and a desire for vengeance, Kwon begins to incinerate all photographs and news articles related to the incident. His business partner and friend, Lam, enters and urges him to cease his actions. Kwon expresses his feelings of failure towards his family and hands over the restaurant's title to her. Lam insists on staying with him for the night, planning to sleep on the couch, but Kwon vanishes and drives away. He gathers some supplies before returning and disguising his van as that of a cleaning service. Lam rushes outside in an attempt to stop him, but Kwon forcefully pushes her aside and departs. He takes a ferry to Northern Ireland and secures a room. Kwon then arrives at Liam's office with a small bag, requesting a meeting with the minister. The assistant recognizes him, and the guards attempt to eject him, but Liam intervenes. In his office, Liam explains that his past involvement with the IRA is behind him, and he is now focused on promoting peace. Kwon reminds him of his own wife and child, pressing for his assistance, but Liam again claims ignorance. Kwon warns him that he will soon change his mind before excusing himself from the office. He heads to the restroom, where he unpacks the simple items he purchased and begins to assemble a complex timed explosive before exiting. Moments later, a tremendous explosion shakes the building. An inspector arrives to inquire about the incident, but Liam denies any knowledge of the perpetrators. Kwon then calls the office, prompting Liam's anger and threats of retaliation. Kwon demands the names of the bombers, but when Liam begins to ramble, he abruptly hangs up. Liam instructs his men to search the town for Kwon. Kwon arrives at his room with additional supplies and begins to recall the lessons he learned in chemistry class. As Liam's drivers enter his car, one of them notices a wire dangling from the gas tank. Upon closer inspection, it turns out to be merely a note that reads names. While at his office, Liam receives a call from an associate who has located Kwon, prompting Liam to order his capture and to deter him from returning. The men hastily make their way to the building, racing up to Kwon's room, but he barricades the door. Before they can enter, Kwon escapes to the attic, where he finds himself cornered. He manages to fend off the men and makes a daring escape. He rushes back inside and is compelled to confront several attackers, using swift movements to take them down. Although the men manage to seize him, Kwon fights back fiercely and leaps through a window. The head bodyguard returns to Liam, who is incredulous that an elderly man was able to overpower them. Liam's nephew Sean arrives at the house, and Liam instructs him to travel to London to discreetly meet with Bromley in order to enlist his assistance in locating the London bombers. Kwon makes his way back to the address, knocking out the guards stationed there before taking his van. He follows Liam to a restaurant where Liam is meeting with his mistress. While there, Liam receives a message and checks his phone, only to find a photo of himself kissing her along with a message demanding the names. Sean meets with Bromley in private, assuring him that they are not involved in the attack. They devise a plan to assign different code words to each ranking member so that when the bombers strike again, Bromley can provide the code word and allow them to handle the situation internally. Bromley consents, but only on the condition that Scotland Yard takes down the bombers instead of them. Liam arrives at a remote place he refers to as the farm. Jim informs him that they searched Kwon's room and discovered traces of nitroglycerin. He tries to comfort Liam, but Liam remains skeptical about his safety. Meanwhile, Kwon changes his van and drives into the woods, where he conceals the vehicle and covers his tracks. He navigates through the forest until he reaches Liam's safe house. Kwon quietly breaks into a shed to plant bombs. When a guard notices the open shed and raises the alarm, Kwon quickly knocks him out. Another guard also gets taken down. Kwon ties up the guards and leaves. Moments later, the bombs detonate, prompting the men to rush outside. Realizing he underestimated Kwon, Liam orders reinforcements. He goes to his wife, trying to assure her that he has everything under control, but she intends to leave him, knowing Kwon is only targeting him. Meanwhile, the authentic IRA is preparing another bomb when they receive a notification about a change in the code word. Back at the farm, as Liam gets ready for his wife to leave, an explosion occurs outside. They rush out to find a car flipped over, realizing a bomb was planted in the driveway and detonated remotely. Several men head into the nearby woods to try to capture Kwon, sweeping the area with their weapons. One guard trips over a wire and Kwon quickly takes him down under his camouflage. Jim shoots Kwon in the shoulder, but Kwon manages to escape and hide before Jim can find him. Liam, now furious, receives advice from Jim to bring in Sean, highlighting his background as a former Royal Irish Regiment soldier. At a hotel in London, Mary is alone in her room when Sean arrives, revealing the reason she wanted to leave Liam. She and Sean are having an affair. They start to kiss just as Sean receives a call from Liam, asking him to come and assist them. McGrath tells Liam that he thinks the attacks should keep happening and tries to convince Liam to agree. Liam admits that he secretly ordered the bombings, but specified that only financial institutions should be hit and civilians should be left unharmed. Furious, McGrath accuses Liam of prioritizing his position in the British government over the IRA's mission. After their argument, McGrath leaves, but not before Liam threatens him, saying that if the bombers aren't caught, he will target McGrath next. Liam goes downstairs to call for his dog, but finds the dog unconscious and notices that his gun is missing. Quan suddenly appears, holding Liam at gunpoint, revealing that he is wearing a bomb and demanding to know the identities of the bombers. Liam insists he doesn't know who they are but shares his plan to catch them using a code word. Quan gives him 24 hours. Meanwhile, Bromley reviews footage of the bomber and spots a burn mark on the man's hand, planning to track him down. Liam's mistress rushes to a biker waiting nearby just before a bomb detonates on a bus full of passengers. Sean arrives at the farm, ready to pursue Quan alone. Liam receives a call from Bromley, who informs him that the bombers didn't provide a code word and suspect deceiving him. Immediately after, he gets a call from Kate, who tells him he will only receive pardons if he finds and turns in the bombers. Things worsen when one of his men, who is watching Mary, reveals that Sean has been involved with her and that she made a call to McGrath afterward. The real IRA is planning another bombing, this time using a computer. Meanwhile, Bromley and his team have identified the bomber and have video evidence of him meeting with McGrath. Bromley calls Liam to inform him about McGrath, but Liam lies, claiming he doesn't know anything. However, Bromley is monitoring Liam's property with a drone and sees McGrath approaching the driveway. Bromley then tells Liam that a team will soon arrive at the farm to apprehend McGrath. Liam faces a tough choice. He can either let his career suffer or confront McGrath in his own way by demanding names and locations. Liam bursts into the office and threatens McGrath with a gun, furious over the innocent lives lost due to McGrath's actions. He insists on getting the names of the men involved and shoots McGrath in the leg when he refuses to cooperate. McGrath, in tears, admits he manipulated Liam and reluctantly provides the names. Liam is stunned to find his side chick's name among them and shoots McGrath again. Liam fears revealing the names, knowing his side piece could expose him. He discovers that Mary has also betrayed him, leading him to kill McGrath. He then shares the names with Bromley. A reporter is at home with Liam's side piece. When he steps away to use the bathroom, she swaps his laptop battery for a bomb. In the woods, Sean tracks Quan and finds a hut. As he investigates, Quan ambushes him, and they engage in a fierce knife fight until Quan knocks Sean down with a strong kick. Sean retaliates, but nearly falls onto a spike, only for Quan to save him. Later, Quan ties Sean up, and Sean reveals the names and locations of the bombers, including the one who killed his daughter. Quan inquires about Sean's family before freeing him. Sean returns to the farm and discovers McGrath's body. He sits next to Liam, who informs him that the bombers didn't provide a code word. Sean denies any involvement until Liam reveals he knows about Sean and Mary. Liam sets that aside and tells Sean that Mary betrayed him by sharing their private conversations with McGrath. Liam assigns Sean one last mission and warns him to return to the USA afterward. Bromley and his team surround the room where the bombers are hiding, with snipers ready. Meanwhile, Quan stealthily makes his way inside the building. The officers plan to storm the room when Quan arrives at the door with the manager, pretending to investigate a gas leak. They allow Quan inside, where he quickly scans the room and identifies a man with a distinctive mark on his hand. As they start searching his belongings and discover a gun, Quan springs into action, leading to a shootout. Quan manages to take down two of the bombers, but loses his weapon in the process. He then overpowers another attacker by smashing his head with a TV and confronts another armed with a knife. Using a towel, Quan subdues the man and strangles him to death. Shortly after, the police raid the room, but Quan escapes before they can catch him. The officers begin to physically assault the woman linked to the bombers to extract the location of their next target. She eventually gives in after they use electric shocks. They rush to the airport and locate the man just in time. They seize his laptop and navigate through the crowd, tossing it into an empty boarding tunnel where it detonates. Bromley receives a report about the Chinese man who attacked in the room, and after extracting all necessary information from the woman, they kill her. Bromley then issues an APB for Quan, who is currently on a bus. Liam gets a call from Kate, who reveals she knows about his mistress, whom she had killed. They are aware of Liam's connection to the bombing but choose to keep this information to manipulate him. At home, Mary hears the doorbell and is shot in the head by Sean. Liam returns home to find Quan waiting for him, Quan confronts Liam, revealing he knows about the mistress and accuses him of orchestrating the bombing. He forces Liam to send a photo of himself with his mistress, declaring that the world will now see him as a terrorist before leaving. Meanwhile, Lam is at a restaurant and spots Quan acting as if nothing has happened. Bromley learns that he has been reinstated but declines to send a team, claiming they owe him. Yam quickly goes to Quan, kisses him joyfully, and embraces him, causing Quan to burst into tears. Don't forget to enable notifications to catch more movie recaps like this one. Thanks for watching.